Hey, everybody, welcome back to the channel. I've got Bud Patterson with me, and we're going to be talking about side hustles on the heels of a comment that I just got. It was actually sent to my wife, and this really brings up a lot of ideas. And my goal for you guys is to make as much money as possible right now because you're going to need it. It's that simple. How you doing, Mr. Bud?
Doing well. Thank you, Chris.
Mr. Bud has a ton of good ideas for side hustles, and I cannot wait to get into it with him. But first, I want to read you this comment. I'm 30 years old, a fellow Louisianan. I'm a huge fan of your channel. Wondering if I could consult with you both. We don't do that, man. I'll help you any way I can, but I'm not a financial advisor. He was an EMT for in his 20s. He got out of the industry when they started forcing medicine on everyone. Uh, his home was destroyed after the hurricane. His 23-year-old fiance got breast cancer. I mean, some people are just dealt a bad hand, if you know what I mean. Uh, He's got college hours, but no degree. He was in roofing sales, but when the economy went down, he got laid off. Now he's living on $620 a week. Um, he's got a house. Uh, he put his life savings down on his house. Now, that's a lot of in my opinion, that's a mistake usually to put all of your savings on anything, whatever it may be, because you just don't know. But that's what he did. So that's where we're at. Um, I keep cash in a bank account for bills. That's it. If I need to eat, I charge it, or gas, I charge it. I charge it to survive. He owns 4 dogs and 3 cats. Can't cannot rent and need to have a home. No one will allow me to rent. Every week after paying bills, I have about $120 to eat on for 7 days. Most days I skip eating entirely. Um, he's wanting to know. I'm gonna cut a lot of this off. I'm sorry if I missed something. Um, uh, Thanks for your channel and positive outlook on gold and silver. He's been stacking 1 ounce of silver per week. And for the first time in a long time, he now has about 90 ounces of silver. Other than stacking, what are some good side gig businesses? Okay, stacking really isn't a side gig. That's you're just hedging wealth, and that's just a way to save real money. It's actually doing way better than about anything else as far as beating inflation, in my opinion, as far as money goes. So that's not so much a side gig, but you're in luck because we're about to talk about a bunch of them. Uh, he wants to know if some business he can start. So let's get with it. I'm really excited. I really like people that are reaching out because they're trying to do better, and there's nothing better than trying to, because we could, somebody on this channel or another channel anywhere could say one thing and it could be life changing. It was like that for me in the rental property business, and like the story you shared yesterday about military bases and welding for the military bases
Hmm.
and how awesome that was. I mean, that is some gold nuggets right there. That's on the Taylor Welding channel. That's in the description. But tell me, Bud, about your side hustle gig. I really enjoyed the ones you shared with me, and I think the audience will too.
All right. Well, I'll get in my storytelling mode here. So, back when I was in college, that was several years ago, I ran out of beer money. I needed to get some beer, and I didn't have any money. So, what I did is I went down to Ace Hardware. I bought a can of black spray paint and some numbered stencils. I started walking the neighborhoods, knock on every single door. Some, or if anybody's home or not, just knock on every single one. And I tell them, hey, look, for $1, I will spray paint your house number out here on the curb so people see your house number. 9 times out of 10, everybody said, well, sure, for $1. And I do it for $1, but probably 7 times out of 10, they said, well, here's $3 or here's a $5 bill. Well, it started becoming very profitable. I was making like $2,000 a week doing this. I went ahead and hired a couple of my buddies from college. I paid them 50 cents um, to do it, and I split the tips with them. So this went on till we got the whole neighborhood done. So here in Stillwater, Oklahoma, you can still go to the south side of the whole city, and every single house in that whole south side of the city's been spray painted on the curb. It's still there after many, many years. So that was just I thought was a really good side hustle and it worked out well. It only cost me back then about $5 for the can of paint and the stencils. It's probably doubled that now. But you walk, you don't have to drive, you get your exercise, and you make a little bit of money on the side. So that was one of them. You want me to go into another one or any comments
Yeah,
on that,
well,
Chris?
here's what I'd like for somebody to do. Try it. What's the worst thing that can happen? You wind up with some stencils and some spray paint.
Yeah.
I bet it still works. And don't
Yeah.
limit it to that. You could do other things. You could, while you're there, you could notice a gutter falling down, or something else. Like, hey, and I'll do this for you for $20. And that's a great way. And you're right. People will usually, yeah, sure, why not? It's cheap enough. And then they see you did a good job, and you're trying to make something of yourself and get on top. They tip you, and that's a really good idea. Yeah, go ahead and go to the next one.
Yeah. So you just kind of hit on another type of deal about the gutter type situation. So I actually got this going with a couple of guys in my church, is that they are in the construction field. So I told them, I said, you know what? Go down to every single bank, not a big bank, your local banks, state banks, local banks, even maybe a regional bank. Take your card in there. You walk in. You say, I need to see a loan officer. Of course, they think you want to get a loan. You go in and talk to the loan officer and say, look, I'm Bud Patterson, and I am starting a business. I know that you're probably going to, as this economy is starting to come down, you may be getting some foreclosures and some houses that are repossessed. I'd like to offer my services because I know you're going to have to clean those up and also do some repairs on those. And I'm your guy. I can do that for you? So one of the guys already did that, and he's the first on the list to call, and they're calling him to come and do a couple houses already. So that may be whatever it is. You go and you bid it, or you could just say do it by the hourly, and that's another little side hustle that you can make. Not only don't limit yourself to just doing houses or repossessed properties to go clean it up, but also repossessed vehicles. As you've seen on the Ninja, there's the repossession market is going crazy. So you go to a bank and say, you might need those cleaned up. If you're not going to take them to the auction houses, a lot of your local state banks, they'll try to resell the repossessed vehicles instead of sending them to the auction houses. And so you say, I'll go clean these up. $45, wash, wax it, however, sweep it out, maybe. So that's another side hustle type deal
Yeah,
you can do.
the economic ninja brought this up. He said he did really good doing the foreclosure cleanup, and all you got to have is a truck and a trailer. And what's really cool about that is you would be surprised. Owning rental properties and knowing what people leave behind is unbelievable. You'd be surprised what they leave behind, and you can put that on Craigslist. You can keep it if you want to, but I would say you would be able to flip, turn a profit on just the stuff people leave behind. It's amazing.
Well,
I don't know if they're not
I
thinking straight when they leave or what.
I think that whenever a bank takes repossession, they actually get all of that property, that's furniture, whatever may be inside, unless they give you permission to take it. But the other side of that coin is I would go down to my local rental center storage unit. What's the cost? Okay, they say it's $100 for storage. You go back to the bank and say, I will clean that stuff out. I will even store it for you for $200 a month. They're going to jump all over that. You make 100% profit, store it, and then after 90 days or maybe 120 days, if it's not claimed, then you could turn around and sell it. So you're doing the candle at both ends of the stick there.
Okay. There's some other subscribers that called in and they gave us some ideas, and I've covered a couple of these, but listen to what they had to say. Find out what you're good at, and it'll help you with your side hustle. Small businesses need help that are organized and can keep paperwork in books. Elderly people always need someone to sit with them, even if it's just to feed them or turn the TV on. This can be a college student or a single mom. I know if you're any good at video editing, content creators like me need help with video editing, making thumbnails. This is stuff you can do from home. That's also a side hustle. They're out there. There's ways to make more than $620 a week. That breaks my heart. I can't imagine having to deal with that right now when everything's so expensive. Everything's so, you go to the grocery store and it's just outrageous. You walk away with nothing, and it was $100. You had
You,
another side hustle you mentioned that
yes,
was
sir. But I'm going to
pretty.
comment on your what you just said about the video editing and everything. One thing we're getting into the situation in our economy and society nowadays is that maybe this generation that's out there right now think that that work that you who needs the work needs to come to them. Well, if you guys are needing the money, you need to go hustle and find the work yourself. You need to go to people like Chris. You need to knock on his door. It's starting to become a society where you got to go knock on doors again to get you some work. And don't expect it to just come and fall in your lap. You got to work at it. So yeah, all right. So back on the other. Go ahead, Chris.
No, speaking of that, that's what uh, your next side hustle is. You got to go out and get it, and he's about to tell you about it.
Yeah. All right. So I didn't do this, but an associate of mine did this out in Phoenix, Arizona. He lost his job during the COVID deal in Phoenix, Arizona. And he was lamenting at home, trying to figure out, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And he was out in the backyard. He looked over and noticed that his neighbor had 3 or 4 dogs. Well, his dog was taking a dump. He thought, well, I wonder if he would pay me to go and clean up his yard from all the dog poop. And so he went over, knocked on the neighbor's door. The neighbor said, yeah. He goes, I'll give you $25 to go back there. So he's like, hey, that's a pretty good deal. So he went to all the people in the cul-de-sac. He said, I'll do the dog cleaning of the yard, getting 25, $30 each. And so that was in 2019 that he was laid off. Today, he has 5 trucks, 17 employees, and a business cleaning up dog poop in the city of Phoenix, Arizona. So his side hustle turned into a very profitable business. And all he started out with was a shovel and a trash bag, because you could
Oh,
take that trash bag and you put it into those people's trash at the curb.
yeah,
So
sure. No overhead
that
whatsoever.
no overhead. Um,
Okay. There was another one
his,
about going to farmers and
yeah,
people that have property.
yep. So I'm out here in Oklahoma area. It's a little bit more rural. So if you're out in kind of the rural areas or your smaller towns, or even if you're in a city and you want to get out, I would give anything if somebody would come and knock on my gates, because I'm a farmer and rancher also, and say, do you have any work for us to do today? I'd say, heck yeah, come on in. And I can guarantee you every single one of my neighboring farms would do the same thing. But you can't find people to do that. And you go, and this, you could walk to each farm. If they say no, you go to the next one. I'm here to fix some fence. Do you need some brush cleaned up? I'm out here in central Oklahoma. You got cedar trees. I need to have cedar trees cut down, or I need thistle sprayed. There is always something to do on a farm and ranch. And so if a guy came along like that, I pay him $15 cash for the day, and they go on. And if they want to come back, I could keep a guy busy for probably 25, 30 days, even during the winter. That's quite a bit more during the summer. And that's even on top of my ranch hands I already have. So that's another deal. One other one that I was going to tell you about was oh, here's an idea for you guys that live in the city. Go down to your local gun range, where the gun range are. Go in and talk to the gun range owner and say, "Do you mind if I set up a table outside your door to offer?" And the whole idea of any side business or any business, folks, you got to be humble and you have to be truthful. You can't try to pull the wool over people's eyes. Just be humble and truthful. Say, look, I'm trying to make a little extra money to buy some groceries or something like that. Ask if you can set a table up outside the gun range. And I know a person who did this in Tulsa, and clean guns for people that go in and shoot, and say, I'll clean your gun for $5. And they come
Ooh.
out, you supply it, you clean their gun, hand it back to them. They're happy. I do a lot of shooting and I hate cleaning my guns. I know it's something you have to do, but I'll pay you $5 to clean my gun. That'd be great. So there's another idea for you guys that live in the city.
That's a great idea, man. I really like these side hustle ideas because it kind of gives people, some light at the end of the tunnel because we won't be here long. You'll have to do some things that you might not like to do sometimes, but you got to do what you got to do. And I want to encourage people to take action. You can read all the books and learn about all the side hustles, but if you never take action and buy the paint can and the stencils and run around and do, look at
Knock on
gutters,
doors.
go drive around, you'll find something to do for somebody and they'll probably let you.
Yep. You, Chris, before the video, you were talking about you want to hit about the visiting with the elderly, and I could talk from that from a personal standpoint. I have a parent who's in a nursing home, and we actually pay somebody to go because she's 100 miles away from me to go and spend time with my mother to be able to visit with her. So there is, and there's no requirements, no nothing for that. You just have to have somebody that has a willing heart that likes to visit and be with the elderly and help them out. So you were talking about that earlier. So
Yes,
but
and my grandfather has somebody that comes over and helps him. He's not, disabled. He's 94. He just needs a little help around the house. And it can be, cooking food, and you don't have to be a nurse, just somebody to help out. And when you start helping out, you'd be surprised
yep,
of how word gets around. If you show up, you're honest, that's it. That's pretty much all you have to do, show up
that's
and
all
be
you got.
honest. But
You got to be a
that'll get you a
person,
long
or
ways, and
you
you
got to
won't
be a
do any
man or
work.
woman of your honor,
Yeah,
of your word.
yeah, that's right.
And just if you say you're going to do it, do it. Do it to the best of your ability. One last one I have for the people that's in the city. Um, I don't probably your bigger cities, pet walking. But like in my medium sized city here, there's nobody that walks pets. So you could go again if you're in the city, you could go find somebody that has pets. Hey, I'll go walk your dog for you, and that could turn into a business. I don't know. I've never done that. It's just something that comes to mind. That's if I was living there, that's what I would do. Plus, you get to exercise and fresh
Yeah,
air.
yeah,
So
absolutely. Well, guys, if you want some more side hustle ideas, the Economic Ninja has a side hustles course. I'll put it in the description. Uh, that dude has done a lot of different things. I think he's had 18 of them, and he's profitable at all of them. He's going to come on the channel, and we're going to try to make the orchard I'm putting in behind the shop here uh, cash flow. We're going to try to make it make money. Now, I haven't took the plunge yet. I've got it built, but I haven't ordered the trees. I hadn't really figured out quite how to do it. But that's where I got the idea from. So thanks for coming on with me, Mr. Bud.
yes, sir.
Hey, before I almost forgot, before I let you go, Mr. Bud is contemplating um, starting a YouTube channel. And I encourage people to do that because this is the new, we're kind of in the metaverse. I mean, social media is how I met Mr. Bud. Social media is how I know you guys, and we've created some friendships. I mean, the people in the
Right.
comments are my friends for the most part. It's nuts. I see them in real life. It's like we know each other, and so I want to encourage you, Bud, to do that. Uh-oh, did my feed stop?
It did for a little bit, but you're still
Anyway,
hear you.
um, and if you got any ideas for a name of a cool name for a channel, you've heard Mr. Bud a couple times now. Put in the comments. I always like to hear you guys' thoughts. So good luck, man. I'll help
So
you any way I can.
my my area would be entrepreneurship and side hustles, entrepreneurship, and ways to make at least a little bit of money in these economic times. I'm pretty good at that. So think of a name for that. People
That's
in the
good.
comments.
All right, buddy. I like it. Well,
All
you
right. Thank
guys
you.
have an awesome, awesome day. We'll see you in the next one. Later.
Bye bye.